Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pixie, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Pixie. This is another awkward video. Yay, awkward. So I know most of my videos have been about hauls and fashion and Disney, but I wanted to address something that it doesn't seem very common to me, but it took a lot of convincing. I talked to two very good friends of mine, and they just said, go for it. Like, you probably feel the need to address this, and you're going to feel so much better. And, you know, for other people who have been through it or are going through it, maybe it'd be helpful to them. So you probably already saw the warnings. This is for 18 and over, please. And this is also a trigger warning because it's about anxiety. And it's very specific anxiety, but talking about anxiety in general is kind of frowned upon for some reason. Like, it's not a bad thing to deal with it. So if this gets flagged, I will be very upset, but I'm afraid of driving. There, I said it. And most people are like, oh, just get over it. Like, nothing's going to happen to you. You're going to be fine. Well, I'm 34 years old. And I've had a car since I was 18 as a graduation present from my father. I still have that same car, by the way, which is pretty darn impressive if you ask me, because a lot of people my age do not have the same car they started with. But long story short, I didn't get my license till I was 21, and my old boss, who's still my friend, he said he would hire me for the bar he opened if I got my license and I turned 21. And now he jokes 2006, so 13 years later he still jokes that he probably purposely drug out opening his bar just so it would fall on my 21st birthday. So shout out to Lou, thank you for that. I got behind the wheel, I got my license on my 21st birthday. People called me the next day on my 21st birthday and said, how's your hangover? And I said, I got my license instead. I did not drink on my 21st birthday. Why lose it on the same day, risking a DUI? Knock on wood. So I drove fine, very nervously when I was 21 up until, like, I drove all over Florida. Sorry if this bounces around a lot. It's late, I'm tired, I'm scared to make this video. I drove all over Florida. I went to go see my friends in 2006, 2007, I live in Central Florida, so I drove to Port St. Lucie, I drove to Jacksonville, I drove to Michigan once. I don't know how I did that bravely. Bless my car, and made it back. Wine break, because I'm still talking nervously about this. And then, so I drove to work every day. At one point I had 3 jobs, and I drove everywhere. I drove all over the state. I drove to 3 different jobs in my town. I drove to DJ gigs. I drove to parties. I drove to concerts. And then all of a sudden, it stopped. One day, I was in almost to the year, 10 years, December 4th in 2009, I got in a car accident. Nobody was hurt, but it was raining. It was down a steep hill. My brakes locked up. I hit somebody else. I had nowhere to go. I could not swerve. There was an 8-foot steep ditch on my right, and there was oncoming traffic on my left on an old country road. And I hit this car with no choice. My boyfriend at the time was in the passenger seat, and he told me to swerve, and I had nowhere to go, so I just hit the person in front of me. And it was so rainy and so dark and so scary that the lady who was driving, and it was her son in the passenger seat, who was probably about in his 30s, and then his little girl was in the driver's, or the little kid's seat in the back. And she's like, you know what, it's raining, I live right here, and that's why all the traffic had stopped, because there were all these side roads. And she's like, just pull into my driveway, we'll handle this. Insurance information was exchanged, the police came, everything was okay. The police were basically just there to exchange information, make sure the insurance was, everybody was insured, nobody was drinking, you know, everybody was okay. And so she's like, oh my god, you're catching a chill, come inside. And as I did, this little girl said, that was fun, let's do it again. And everybody kind of laughed. She thought it was like a roller coaster at Disney. And she wanted to play Barbies with me while we're filling out all the paperwork. So that was funny. And then she even told me, and this still resonates with me 10 years later, you have to get back behind the wheel, sweetie, and keep driving. So I did. Years pass, and I'm still going to my jobs, I'm still driving independently, I'm still going shopping, I'm still, you know, I'm going places, and then all of a sudden, 2015, I can't drive. I don't know what triggered it. I had a panic attack 2 years prior, and in the emergency room, all they did was put me on Ativan and send me home. I actually ended up flushing my Ativan because I didn't like the way it made me feel, and ironically enough, you couldn't drive on it. I was never driving drunk. I never drove intoxicated. I never endangered anybody else except for that one accident where I could not stop. And thank God nobody was hurt. And I only had to pay for their bumper, I think, through my insurance. Like, that was the only damage to either car, except I had like a little vanity plate that said Pixie on the front that was shattered when the rear bumper and the front bumper just collided. Minimal damage. Nobody had whiplash. My back hurt for a while, but everybody else was okay. I was more concerned about everybody. I even sent that family in 2009. I even sent them a Christmas card. And so now we're in 2015, like I said. I'm living with my boyfriend at the time, which is a totally different story. He ended up being abusive as hell, got my restitution, moved on. I still can't drive. I moved back in with my parents. I still can't drive. I have to literally talk myself into getting in the car at this point. I have to say, it's gonna be okay. I have nightmares about what if that person does not stop at that stop sign? What if that person is not in the correct lane and ends up hitting me? But none of this has ever happened. And what if I'm not drinking, but a cop pulls me over and thinks I'm drunk and I get a ticket or I go to jail for no reason? I just have all these like visions in my head that I can't drive. I just can't. And I think I've lost a lot of friends for this because, and I'm sorry. I made excuses. Hey, will you come hang out with me? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, can you help me move? Simple as that. And I just couldn't. Give me a minute. I'm back. We're gonna be strong. See, my wine glass says, be strong and be magic. So I just started blowing people off. No, I can't meet you here. Or, can you give me a ride instead? I'll give you gas money. And I just stopped going to events. I just stopped being social because it turned out I didn't want to drive to have a social life. And now I've been married for 2 years, been with my husband for 3, and my excuse was, one, my car wasn't working, which it really wasn't. Last year we probably put $1,200 in that same Saturn to be fixed. Now that it's running, I have the excuse of, well, my mom picks me up all the time, she comes over all the time, or I have my husband. Also true. And last resort, I have my stepson who can drive. Now that my mom has broken her hip and is recovering, she can't drive. And my husband is working double hours because he's starting a new company, and it's just this whole like chaotic mess because it's only him and his partner. So now it's like I do have to wait. And I can't justify Ubering everywhere, and I just can't drive. A lot of people just say like, well, I have public transportation, or it helps pollution, or, you know, I don't have those options. Yes, I know the pollution thing, but then I'm stuck. I probably haven't left the house in a week. So I just wanted to address that driving anxiety is real. It's super real, and it's hardcore real, because even though I know things are going to be fine, I get into the car and I can't start it. One more minute. So anyway, hopefully that's the last time. The thing about anxiety medicine, ironically enough, is I did have a panic attack years before this. And they put me on Ativan, and of course most anxiety medicines kind of numb everything. They tell you not to operate machinery. So it's kind of a moot point at that point in time where you have anxiety because you can't drive, but this medicine is supposed to calm you down so you don't have anxiety, but then it makes you so messed up that you're legally not allowed to drive on it. So I'm like, okay, then what's the point of that? So by my second refill, I flushed it and didn't refill my third, because I was like, this isn't the answer. And I don't want to try like CBD oil or anything like that, homeopathic. I literally just have to put myself in the car and say, it's going to be okay. Nothing's gonna happen. I'm not gonna hurt anybody and nobody's gonna hurt me. That's why it's so hard to address such a thing, because I see other people get in the car, like my husband, and they drive all over the state of Florida for work, and it does not bother them. So, I'm growing, knowing my car is safe, but I'm not growing in the fact that I think something's going to happen to me every time I drive. Or somebody else, because it's going to be my fault. I don't text and drive. I don't drink and drive. I don't even answer the phone when I'm driving. The most I do is listen to music and smoke a cigarette. And I know I need to quit smoking, but whatever. It helps me. And now when I do have to drive to like go see my mom or go pick her up, because after a hip surgery you can't drive for 7 weeks, I try to find a way for somebody to ride with me, and I just say, oh, I need help with mom because she's on a walker. You know, it's not a lie, because it's hard to put somebody disabled in your car by yourself. So, I don't know, it's just, a lot of people have understood, but I just know a lot of people are just like, well, she must not want to hang out with me, but actually it's no. If you're watching this, it's just I don't want to drive. I usually just convince people to pick me up and I give them gas money. Yay, Uber. So I just wanted to, like, tell myself and tell other people that getting on the road is not as scary as you might make it out to be. I'm getting there. 34 years old and I can't drive. I can legally drive. I have a license, my car is insured, and it works, but I even made that excuse. When I got married, my license expired, and I just kept telling myself, I'll get my name changed, and my license renewed at the same time. It took me almost 2 years to go to the DMV, because I was afraid they were going to make me take a physical driving test again. But they didn't. It took like 2 trips, though, because I had the wrong license, or marriage license. I had my certificate, not my license, so I had to go back twice, but I still got it. So that was like step 1, and then my car was still getting fixed, so that was step 2. Car is now fixed, and now it's on me. So I guess I just recorded this to let you know that be strong. And not everybody on the highway is out to like merge into you or hit you or run that stop sign, and just know that your car is safe and be aware of other people on the road. Because I think that's what literally triggered it, is that one small accident. Luckily nobody was hurt, but they could have been, and I think that was what was in my head, was like, it could have been way worse. And I know accidents happen every day. Knock on wood that it doesn't ever happen to anybody watching this or not watching this, but something red flagged in my brain that I'm never going to be safe on the road again. So it's been a process. Only 13 years of driving, and I stopped for about a good 5 years. So I need to be strong. And if you have any other questions, I'm just going to wrap this up because it's just a video of me crying about anxiety. That's why I did the trigger warnings, because anxiety comes in different forms. That's another reason I wanted to do this video, because it's not really addressed like, I'm afraid to drive. People just get in the car and drive, and I don't understand how they do it. Every day of their lives, and just go without thinking about it. Even when they get in a bad accident, they just get behind the wheel and just keep going, and I'm like, I can't do that. I tell myself I can't do that. I am terrified. But just know you're not alone, and maybe we can get through it together if you have the same phobias. Anyways, I will go back to my happier videos very soon. I believe in myself and my friends when they say that this is like a necessary thing to like get it all out there in the open. The camera is very therapeutic to me, and hopefully this will help somebody, even if they just type in driving anxiety and they find my video. Let me know. Maybe it'll help somebody down the road. And safe driving out there. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for supporting me and my channel, my journey into YouTube. Stay fabulous. Bye guys. Pixie out.